Hello and welcome to 15 Steps for Beginners, a guide to realistic mode in Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. In this video we'll be going over the basics on how to get your republic started in realistic mode, the basic infrastructure you'll need to start building your glorious republic, and some pointers of where to go from there, so you can turn this virgin ground into a thriving and glorious republic. So, as a bit of a preamble before we get into the steps, first thing to go over is your settings. If you're playing on just the basic overall realistic difficulty, these will be your settings here, and these are quite challenging. This is the game at its hardest, so if you're a newer player, don't feel bad about changing them. Feel free to set the money to whatever you want, even go easy for the maximum amount of money, and that'll allow you to make a couple of mistakes and not worry about things too much. Equally, things like frequent building fires, serious global events, feel free to turn them down. Or if you don't want to do any of the simulations, say for example things like the research, the water or the waste management, or even something as simple as maintenance, feel free to disable them as well, just so you have less to worry about at the start of the game. You can turn them on in the settings later on, but it will lock your game for achievements, so do remember about that. The first step is to find the site of your future republic. Pause your game so time doesn't keep ticking while you're getting set up. Open your map on the bottom right of the screen to get an overview of your republic. Look for a Soviet custom office along the red border with a power connection. Bigger custom houses and custom houses with rail connections are good for later, but not essential. Consider as well close resources, things like stone, coal, iron or oil, or flat ground for fields and for easier building. If resources on the map are locked behind research, you can still find them by selecting the building and searching manually with their area of effect. The next step is to build up the required basic infrastructure. You want to place mud roads connected to your customs house to allow you to import road vehicles and goods. Consider when you're placing your roads to allow potential future upgrades. Parallel roads will allow you to upgrade one part of the road while the other is still in use, and gravel roads will massively improve your vehicle's ability to travel quickly. Place a free fuel station connected to your road, and then place a free distribution office. In this distribution office, buy an oil tanker and unpause the game. Once it has arrived, set it to load fuel from the customs house and unload into the fuel station. Once delivered, this free fuel station will be able to supply the vehicles in your republic with fuel necessary in order to start working. If you find this one fuel station isn't enough to meet demand, consider placing more than one and allocating it to your distribution office as you did the first. The next step is to set up your free construction offices. You want to set up your free construction offices and place mud roads to connect them to your customs house, and then purchase your initial vehicles, a bulldozer and an excavator in separate construction offices for flattening terrain for buildings. You can also allocate these construction offices to construction group using the construction grouper menu on the left to make it easier to control what they should build and what they shouldn't. While not an essential tip, setting your construction workers outside of a construction office on the bottom right, so a low number like 10, will make sure that your populations still do other jobs if there are buildings being constructed around their homes, and it's best to do it now so you don't forget later. The next step is to start importing your initial construction goods. You want to set up free storages for your construction goods, a free aggregate storage for gravel, and a free general storage for steel, boards, prefab panels, and bricks. Make sure that all of these are connected to your customs house to allow you to import. Place free distribution offices in order to supply them. 2 is a good number, and buy 4 open hull trucks and 2 dumpers spread across those distribution offices. Allocate your distribution offices to load gravel, steel, prefab panels, boards and bricks from the customs house, and then unload them at your free storages. Unload your steel, boards, bricks and prefab panels into different storages. This helps stop queues from trucks trying to load those resources. The next step is to set up your construction fleet. Set up your free construction offices to collect the stored resources from the relative free storages that you've set up in the previous step. And for the rest of your resources, collect them from the customs house. You can copy the resource settings from one construction office to another by using the copy settings button and then clicking on the other construction offices. Then we want to buy our initial construction fleet. In your construction office with the bulldozer, buy 2 dumpers and an open hull truck to transport your bulldozer and set it for roadworks by deselecting all the tick boxes except for road building. In your office with an excavator, buy a dumper, a mixer and an open hull for groundworks. In one of your unoccupied construction offices, buy an open hull a closed hull, a road crane, and a bus for building structures. This gives you a good starting point for your construction industry. If you notice certain construction phases taking a little bit longer than others, you can use your still vacant construction offices to buy additional vehicles to help speed that up. The next step is to set up your electrical connection. Connect from the border with a high voltage cable of high wattage. Probably around 15 megawatts is a good starting point. And then build a high voltage switch to connect that to. Branch off this switch with a lower wattage high voltage cable for local connections. You don't need that much power for now, about 8 megawatts should be more than enough. Connect this local high voltage connection to a power transformer and then use medium voltage lines from the power transformer to connect up to electric substations so that your buildings can use the power you're importing. Remember as well to go to the border and start to import power. You won't import more than you need, so don't worry about spending too much money by using up the whole 15 megawatts. Try and use switches where you can in order to prevent power outages when building new electrical connections in your electrical network. Sometimes a little bit of pre-planning can prevent a whole lot of headaches. The next step is to set up better foreign worker collection. Place a free bus station not in walking range of any workable buildings and a free road depot. You can check to see if there are any workable buildings on your free bus station by selecting it and hovering over the pedestrian icon. Buy a passenger bus in your free road depot and wait for it to arrive and to be refueled. Once this is done, set up a new road line with a plus icon and set it to load workers from the customs office. Next, add a stop to your free bus station, untick the load option, and in the unload box, click on the box next to the link icon. This will force everyone on your bus to stay at the bus station. If there are no walkable work sites near the bus station, these workers will stay at the bus station for far longer than they otherwise would. This allows you to set up your other bus lines and your construction offices to pick up foreign workers from here rather than from at your customs house, which will reduce your customs house traffic and any potential queues that can come about from that. The next step we want to do is to protect our investments, especially from things like fires. In order to do that, we're going to build the smallest fire station available, and when it is complete, we want to buy for it 2 small fast fire engines. Make sure to allocate this to your distribution office with an oil tanker in order to refuel your fire station. Put a free bus stop between it and wherever you want to set up your first industry, and then get 2 to 3 minibuses in your road depot and set up a line between the customs office or your free bus station that you're collecting foreign workers from in order to deliver them to this stop to man your fire station. The next step is to set up our technical office. Our fire station needs water delivered and sewage removed in order to work correctly. Build a water substation and a sewage tank in range of your fire station. Next, place a free technical office fairly close by and buy a water cistern and a sewage cistern and set it to collect and deliver water and sewage to your customs house. These water and sewage trucks will also help any other buildings within their technical office's range. Your next step is to set up a better construction area. Use an aggregate storage connected to a truck loading station for use for gravel. A single open storage for your boards, panels, bricks and steel connected to a road loading station, or multiple open storages if you want to store them separately. Construct a warehouse for covered goods, such as electrical and mechanical parts, and also remember to connect them all to your electricity. Replace your old free storages by turning off unloading for them, and if there's material in them, load them from there instead, and set your new storages for unloading. Assign these storages to your construction offices. This will massively increase your construction speed. Consider also building a larger, more permanent construction office in order to house more vehicles, and additionally adding an asphalt or concrete plant to reduce your requirements on custom house imports. The next step is to set up a cost-saving industry. Set up an easy and small construction industry to try and cover some of your costs. Build a small gravel pit and processing plant and an aggregate storage if you're near stone. Build a woodcutters with a woodcutting post next to a sawmill connected to an open storage for boards, and remember to plant trees around it. You can also build an aggregate storage connected to a brick factory connected to an open storage in order to save on brick imports. You should import coal for now for the brick factory from your customs house, though this is a more expensive option both in building and importing. The next step is to set up your initial waste handling. All your manned buildings will start to produce waste, which, if piled up too much, causes both production to cease and pollution to spread. To stop this, a free or built technical office with either a small or large waste truck can pull waste directly from the buildings with the corresponding waste type. But placing waste stands near the buildings can collect it for you and wind up with less traffic heading to your customs house. Generally, industry will use large waste containers, while residential or commercial buildings will use small waste containers. You can check which container type is being used by clicking on the building in question, and small waste container buildings can still empty into large waste container stands. You can also build transfer stations where waste can be loaded quickly by large waste trucks, making your smaller trucks more efficient at collecting waste and again reducing custom house traffic. Either set your technical office to dump waste at your customs house, or if you want to use a transfer station, wait until it's built, set them to deliver waste there, and then set up a line of large waste container trucks to move waste from that transfer station to your customs house. The next step is to plan your first town. This can be small, around 1,000 people to start working in construction and your basic industries and get you ready to launch further. They will need basic amenities, a place to get food and meat, a place to get clothes and electronics, somewhere to get alcohol, somewhere to enjoy sports, and another for culture. Make sure they have access to healthcare through a small clinic and kindergartens and schools for their children. Set up a bus station near the houses to collect workers for your construction offices and for your initial industry. A small heating plant will be good enough to provide heating for this few people. Have it far away enough to not cause adverse effects through pollution, around about 400 meters, and then make sure to pipe the heat in using underground pipes into small heat exchangers. Make sure to use water and sewage substations and have waste stands near all your buildings to reduce the load on technical offices, and also make sure to wire up with electrical substations. Use a free distribution office with a refrigeration truck and some covered hulls in order to deliver food, clothes, electronics, and meat, as well as alcohol, to your city, and allocate it to the various buildings that are supplying them. The next step is to plan your rail infrastructure. Build a railway construction office near your first town, connecting it to an open storage for steel, bricks, prefab panels and boards, an aggregate storage for gravel, and a waste transfer for waste. You can also connect it to a small warehouse for electronic components if you're using electric rails. Transitioning from a road to rail infrastructure, while initially expensive, will let you move around far higher quantities of goods, not slowed down by snow, and give you another loading, unloading method in your custom house in order to reduce road traffic there. Remember as well to have refueling points for diesel trains or electric connections for electric ones, as well as a train depot to start importing trains. To use cargo or passenger wagons, buy them at the customs house connected to a rail depot, and then use a line for a train to go to the customs house to collect the wagons from the customs house, and then as their next stop, stop off at the train depot. This will deliver them to your train depot so you can use them to set up a new train line. The last step is to plan further money-making opportunities, depending on what resources are around you. After all, your republic needs more money in order to grow. Oil is good as it doesn't require workers to extract, it has fairly high volume to transport, which scales with the number of pumps that you have. Clothes don't need many workers for a higher return and less volume, and give you even more profit if you have the workers available to also make your own fabric. This clothing site can then incorporate food and alcohol production for export and also for reducing costs with your population. Crops require no workers, but a high amount of investment for both the vehicles and the buildings, require a lot of land to set up, and it does take time before you start seeing returns. And on top of that, crops require a lot of transport. Twinning crops with livestock hauls can more than double your return on crops, but they do require workers and high amounts of water. Coal or iron exports are also high volume and they're a fairly high workforce requirement in order to start exporting, but can make you a fair bit of money. Building up research places in order to research things such as bauxite, chemical, or even vehicle production will also give you more money-making opportunities. Don't forget to expand your town or build new ones as you get an increased workforce requirement. And with that, we have our first 15 steps. Hopefully this will help you on your way to becoming a successful and burgeoning realistic republic. Remember, realistic mode is one of the hardest ways to play this game, but it's also one of the most rewarding. Don't be afraid of failure. Every time you try, you will learn more and get better at the game, and better able to plan for your next attempt. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, let me know down in the comments what other content you'd like to see. If you want to support the channel further, consider becoming a member of the Burger Band either on YouTube, Patreon or Ko-fi, in order to get some additional benefits, such as seeing videos as soon as they're uploaded and some other fun stuff. Either way, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, take care.